What's up everyone? I'm giving you a quick review and overview of Dehancer plugin. First I'll explain what is Dehancer. They offer a film-like plugin. The installation is pretty simple and they offer a PDF manual to go over. After installation I briefly skimmed through the manual to help me out a bit, but you can dive into the program without having to feel overwhelmed. We'll walk through this with Final Cut Pro 10, but you can also use this plugin with Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and there's an iOS app available. I'll provide a link below with a discount to their product. I also have my video editing course available that covers Final Cut Pro 10. So most of my work is wedding-related projects. I'll show you how it works on this camera that was shot by my second shooter who used the Sony A7III. His picture profile was shot on S-Log3. Now that I have Dehancer installed, it'll be in your Effects tab under Film Emulation where you can simply drag and drop the plugin. The effects will show up in my Media Inspector, but I'm going to start off by deselecting all the enabled effects so we can have a fresh look. Let's start from the top. I'm going to choose the source by selecting the camera my second shooter used. Select the vendor and model. The format was S-Log3. Dehancer already color corrected it for me. I'll compare this to the way I color corrected it myself when I was using Final Cut Pro's color wheel. You can see the difference yourself, but this plugin is easier to adjust log footage. The only thing I need to do is adjust exposure a bit over here. You also have the option to adjust it a bit more with the temperature and the tint. I'll scroll down to show you some of the film look options. We'll start off with the film profile. I'll enable it. Right now it's set to Kodak Vision 3 250D. When I click on this dropdown, you'll see so many options. If you're seeing T for tungsten, this will have that rich golden yellow color. If you're seeing D for daylight, it will appear blue. For this look, I'll select Kodak since I'm familiar with that style from my college years, and if we were shooting with actual film, it probably would have been set around 250D. You also have the option to push or pull the color contrast, depending if you want to recover shadows or blown out highlights. I was filming directly towards the sky, but my subject was the front of this venue, so having that high dynamic range was really helpful here. I'll go ahead and deselect the film profile and enable film compression. I can try to adjust the shadows and highlights as much as we can. I can adjust the black or white points, but at this point I'll need the video scope to help me with this. I'll go to View, then select Video Scope. In the Luma channel, I want to spread out those waves as much as possible by staying in between 0 and 100. This works for me. You can see the difference when it's enabled or disabled. We'll scroll down and check out the other film looks. Here is film grain. I'll go ahead and enable that. You have several preset options with 8mm giving you more grain and 65mm giving you less grain. I'll check out the difference from 8mm, 35mm, and 65mm. You can also customize the grain however you like. You can always customize any of the other film presets as well and make some of these more extreme. I'll deselect the film grain so we can check out the next film look. The halation effect has 8 basic profiles that has a red glow around bright light sources and contrasting edges. I'll pick some of the different profiles so you can see these red highlights in the edges. I'll come back to this again in a bit so you can see the difference at nighttime. The bloom effect gives a soft vintage glow around bright areas. It's hard to see the difference here in this daylight shot, so I'll come back to this for the night shots. Film damage allows you to see all the scratches and hair on the film. You can try the presets. 8mm has more dust and scratches. You can also customize this how you want. I'll add a bit more dust and hair. I'll disable this so we can look at more stuff here. They have the vignette effect, so I'll enable that. If I move the exposure to the left, we'll see a dark vignette. I'll adjust the size a bit. If I move the exposure to the right, you'll see a brighter vignette. You can adjust the feather and the aspect ratio. Even though Final Cut Pro already has a vignette effect, this preset from Dehancer does actually look like it was shot on an old school Bolex camera, and less of a digital effect that was inserted in post-production. I can even do a comparison to see the difference. So I'll search for the vignette effect in Final Cut Pro and replace it with Dehancer. Now that I got it where I want it, I'll deselect Final Cut Pro X's vignette effect and select the Dehancer effect. It's just a little bit of a difference. I'll deselect this shot for now. Remember, I'm just showing you each preset one by one, but you can always include all these together. I'm going to look for a night shot so we can go back to the halation and bloom effects. I'll use this shot for my second shooter showing the groom reaching for the garter. I color corrected this with the color wheel, so I'll deselect this media and bring over the Dehancer plugin. Again, I'll remove all the current effects and set the camera source. I won't bother with the exposure for now, so let's check out the halation effect. At night, I can see the subtle red glow around the bright light sources. Same with the bloom effect. At night, you can see more of the misty glow and vintage feel to it. So here's my brief review of the Dehancer plugin. I think overall it gives more of a realistic film look than most plugins out there. The link to purchase their plugin is below with a discount. If you want to learn more about Final Cut Pro X, I'll also have an in-depth link to the course. I hope you enjoyed this video and don't forget to subscribe.